Hello, beloveds. Here we are under this incredible full moon. I encourage you to take a deep breath and to just feel yourself here as you are merging with the technology that comes through these transmissions and what's really relevant for you, what's practical advice, what resonates. So maybe together, let's I'm so happy to be here with you and to be calling on the wisdom of this time to help us bring our focus to really what's important and to channel the energy that we possess to be able to co-create in a caring and conscious way, able to rise above the shadows that tend to become more prevalent during a full moon period and to arc into our light without denying the shadows, but more of an acceptance and an integration of them. So what I would invite you to do is that if you enjoy this reading, like it, subscribe. It helps the algorithms. I think that you probably all understand this. So I'm just going to put it here now instead of at the very end. And I so appreciate that kind of support. So let's go ahead and just start to dive in, calling on the highest light of truth, of wisdom, of protection, and the availability to create space between ourself and our experience so that we are able to establish a direct and clear reflection of what is ours versus what is other, and where our own shadow material comes up in between, where we have the ability to bring in our light. And so asking for what resonates to merge with your own body system and your energetic system, and to leave what doesn't. And in full thanks and gratitude, so be it. So this morning I've chose to, and it's morning for me here in Australia, I've chosen to work with the Mayan Oracle deck, the Scorpio deck, the Pluto deck, the Angel deck, and my favorite all-time go-to is my Shaman deck from Alberto, and I think her name is Corlette. Yeah, so we're going to first draw in from the Mayan deck. And there's a real sense with this moon because not only is this the Scorpio full moon, in Vedic it's the Taurus full moon, but it's also the Wesak full moon. And this is said to be the time of the remembering of Buddha's birth, death, and liberation, his awakening. And also the time when the Buddha returns. He returns to the earth to emit spiritual energy, that the Christ comes and anoints him, and he shares that energy over the globe for the awakening and growth of humanity for the next 12 months. So this card, this is going to be a little bit different spread than I usually pull. That's interesting. This first card is what is healing, the focal point of the healing, and this is, you know, I generally do a collective, but this is calling me to focus on the personal, which I guess is all the same, right? As within, so without. But it's asking for us to receive this as our personal healing, and it's the ancient ones. It's this card of the ancestors. And with it being Mother's Day, that feels so relevant. And if you haven't read the blog that I wrote yesterday, you may find that there's some pieces of information in there that may touch you around lineage, around generational healing, around collective healing, and around our relationship with our ancestors. And it's a beautiful time to really set up some pictures on your altar, to make offerings, to remember them, to just remember them, tell their stories, and in telling those stories, linking with the gratitude of what you've received from it. So it's like this feeding of gratitude to the other side, to the times before, and then also seeding the path to the future. So with this particular card of the Ancient Ones for personal healing, when this card appears, you are beginning a new cycle. He asks you to connect with the DNA level wisdom rooted deep inside you, and that you are ready to step into a new level of leadership. To claim your authority as a human being, to be your own creator and your own inner mother and father. Light a fire in his honor and let the flames speak to you. Okay, Spirit. What other guidance can you provide? Okay. Where we are stuck. And this is an indication that if there's somewhere that you're feeling stuck, to be asking for the proper help. And this doesn't mean just the help here in this world. It actually means going to the higher realms. It means elevating your request to the presence of God or to your angels. This card specifically says call on your angels. So if you work with angels, if you resonate with this card, this is what you are asked to start doing, is to build that bridge of relationship between your problems, your obstacles, your challenged experiences, and the assistants that are always there and just are waiting for you to actually ask. They're not going to step in. They need you to ask. And okay, what else is here in that regard? The water element. So we have fire and water, and we have here with the Ancient Ones. It talks about lighting a fire. So under this full moon, you may be invited to do some kind of ritual with fire. And Scorpio, Pluto is water based. This is a very watery energy, and this has also been in the collective field for a while, is that water is coming to cleanse the memory, so that we're not held down by these I'm going to call them implants, the implants that we've received through many lifetimes and through the structure, through the matrix structure itself of fear, scarcity, and they're wording it like permanence. So I think sometimes when we move from a place of thinking something's permanent and that it's not going to change, we then act from a place of needing to control it, or just being fearful of it being detrimental, of it being ultimate. And the water card is also related to the feminine and able to flow, and inviting us to maybe find a bit more flow. Okay, so what's the collective shadow that's moving out and through? And I'd love to hear in the comments what resonates, what your experience has been, what feels really, I don't know, like what feels like it's starting to shift for you. What feels like maybe a level of freedom from some part of yourself or some like shadow action or shadow behavior that you're coming into more awareness around. Here we have the alligator. We have it in reverse at that. And intuitively, the alligator, it reminds me of the reptile brain. But it also reminds me of humility. It reminds me of like staying really low and connected with the mother. And they're cold-blooded. So I could see there being like some shadow there around cold-bloodedness. The water card. So this says hidden enemies, survival. So this speaks of how alligators tend to be like underneath the water, hidden beneath the surface. And they're something not to be trifled with, right? They also tend to be in like murky, placid water. It says now is the time to tap into your intuition. If something or somebody makes you feel wary, it's for a reason. Not everyone is who they seem, and it's possible that someone is waiting for that moment to strike when your defenses are low. This isn't meant to encourage paranoia, but to serve as a reminder that your gut instinct is the right one. If you don't trust someone, keep your distance. Alternatively, it's possible that you are in survival mode, thanks to past experiences that have left you feeling mistrustful. Take some time to discern which energy is present now, keeping in mind that it may be a little of both. And for further reflection, when you are in survival mode, your nervous system is out of whack. The frontal lobe of the brain, which controls our judgment and the ability to see the bigger picture, isn't functioning as it should. This can also manifest as root chakra issues. The root chakra is our lowest energy center, and it deals with concerns about safety. Take the time to ground yourself and really listen to your body. What makes you feel safe in your body and the surrounding environment? Give yourself those things. All right, this checks out with what I have been observing in the collective field is this restructuring of the root chakra, and it's this purgative. We've been in it for a while, this like purgative energy of everything that we have held fears around is starting to be amplified and pushed out through every lunar cycle, and particularly through these eclipse portals. It's like this squeezing of a sponge. And there's absolutely, I'm being reminded right now just to like speak about AI. Like AI is probably not what you think it is. Like there's some wonderful benefits to it, and it needs to be, don't become so friendly with it and let your guard so far down that you don't realize that this is not a sentient life force, that this is programmed, and it's programmed. Let me ask this. What do you think the motivation is behind the programming? Is this the same motivational forces behind big pharma, big tech, big school, big ag? Is this the same motivational force, which has to do with control, monopolizing, slavery? Just ask those questions. So for some reason that's here, and to be very mindful, vigilant about your interactions with that, and to not just totally let your guard down around it. There's something really like poignant about bringing attention to that. And then we can start to go out bigger than that and expand out, looking at, there's certain things that are shifting geopolitically, economically, and as those are occurring, and as any issues arise, to be very inquisitive, to watch your own survival mechanism. And so that's on a larger collective scale, right? But on a more personal scale, how does that apply? Like, what in yourself is allowing certain people to come in that you just have a little confusion about? It's like, maybe you're aware of some really, like, a strong attraction or a strong pull to someone, or maybe it's someone you've been with for a while, and still there's like this little intuitive ping, like, that you've always gotten. Maybe you've ignored it, maybe you've let your boundaries down because you're like, oh, I can trust this person, which is like textbook narcissist empath dynamic. Is we tend to, like, there are certain cues that narcissists give to disarm the empath. And we all have narcissistic and empath traits, but that's just what's coming through. It's like really looking at the people in your life. There's probably somebody, and something doesn't feel quite right about it. It could even be like not a somebody, it could be a place, and you're just like, something doesn't click quite right. But you know, it has this and it has this, and I really like it. I'm attracted to it. And so this is the shadow of Scorpio. Scorpio is seductive, and it can be seductive for sensual desires, which aren't always rooted in truth. They come more from like the hunger of the shadow. They come from the places where we're not feeding ourselves. Okay, this is starting to get really dialed in. Oh. Okay. What else is helpful? Obsidian blade. So it's time to cut some cords, guys. It's time to, and you know, like, actually, there's a part of you that's always known. I'm in the walk of this myself, of refining my ability to trust, and to trust so fervently in my initial response that I don't need to follow up with a bunch of questioning and experimenting. And I tell you what, one way that you can always find out is around a full moon. It's so much more obvious around full moons if there's incompatibility, and getting to the root of what that incompatibility is key. And so I'll read about the obsidian, but it feels pretty clear. It's like cutting away, being very cautious not to hurt, but cutting away that which does not belong, that which is not meant for you. That's the words that they're using. That's not meant for you. So you could even ask yourself, if there's a person, or maybe it's a job, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a habit, that if you weren't to follow up with them, if you were to like just take a pause and not feed, what would happen? Like, is there reciprocity there? Would they just disappear? Would they, excuse me. That's a good indication of if you're holding on to something that's not meant for you, something that's actually not good for you, something that your intuition has been telling you all along. That maybe the place, the person was only meant to bring you that lesson of boundaries and of trust, and tuning you a bit more to your intuition. So I'm coming back to the ancient ones, to this card of fire that's like, and again the angel too, of like asking for a little bit more help, because letting go of these things that we pull in through our shadow it can be very difficult. It can be emotional, it can be physically painful, it can be extremely scary. And I can see that this is the path through, actually. It's like purification, not only by the Spirit, but then it's resurrection, replenishment, and rebirth through the water. It's the releasing of the fear that called it in the first place, so that you can make a different choice and step into this new world, so that you're co-creating from the place of sovereignty, from the place of love, authority, light, and not limited by the unconscious conjurings of the mind. So this is calling you to confront your shadow. Are you feeling selfish in your actual circumstances, or do you have a tendency to sacrifice yourself for others? Obsidian both cuts and heals, especially the physical and the emotional experienced when confronting your shadow, and allows you to be whole. So if you have any obsidian, work with it, wear it. And with the water, so if you do some kind of ritual with a fire, whether it's lighting a candle, whether it's burning something, you can burn the things that you're ready to release, the contract that you're ready to release with that shadow in another person, or with a land or a place. And then there's something about bringing in the water, and I see it like as a full immersion, like going into the water and fully immersing yourself. And when you're coming out, like letting all of that residue of the memory coils, the memory complex, wash away. Yeah, this says when water arrives, you're invited to watch your emotions and know they are going to be changeable. And do not settle on a conclusion. If you feel joy, feel it fully. If you feel sad, allow sadness to move through you. Water invites you to see the ebb and flow of events and trust you can ride the wave of opportunity when it arises. Natural flow is here. Go with it. So it's very timing based. It's very timing based. If there's an execution that needs to happen, if there's a completion that is ready, time it. Feel into the proper timing. And what I see a lot of the time is when I go into the spiritual realm, when I ask for the help, particularly like, let's say it's a sticky situation. Let's say it's a situation where you are in a relationship with someone who there's like a toxicity there. It's like a repeating pattern. And you call on this help, and maybe you've been fearful of letting it go because of how they'll take it. You know, maybe they have like outbursts of anger. Maybe they're violent. Maybe they're like you're afraid of their reaction. If you will go and you'll do a ritual or a fervent prayer, you actually are often given a very easy opportunity. All you have to do is take it. So a lot of the time it'll be their idea for you to go, or for them to go, or for y'all to break it off or get divorced or whatever. And all you have to do is say yes. And really it's such an assistance, because it's so much harder to go in cold into that. And this reminds me of the alligator too. It's like alligators have to sit in the sun. All reptiles need to sit in the sun in order to get enough like energy to move the body with like more fluidity. They charge under the sun. So receiving that allows you to go in to a situation that's already warmed up, and all you have to do is just choose and take the action. Follow through. I can feel there is such an access point under this moon to claim it, to ask for the assistance, and when that opportunity comes, to take it. Prepare yourself to take that invitation. And we arrive at the holy mountain. This is where we are going. Ultimately, we're all going here, but those of you who choose to Sacrifice to yourself. Sacrifice your desire for what your soul actually needs, which is not going to be provided by anybody, any place, any habit. It needs you to show up and say yes to it, to stop saying no to it or later or I don't know. Just a clear and defined yes. The native peoples around the earth recognize mountains as places of great power, or one encounters spirit, or where the god or goddesses reside. And here we are on the Wesak moon, and people go and gather at the Himalayas, the great mountains. And so you could even maybe like tune into that, these ancient ones that are here now, and it's so alive, just going before the Himalayas, calling on the wisdom of the Himalayas and the great teachers who have merged with the technology from that part of the earth and the stars, and welcoming the great Buddha and great Christed beings, Yeshua, the Magdalens, any of those teachers that feel really personally connected with you and what you believe when it comes to healing and wholeness and miracles, allowing that assistance to come in. It says in Tibet, pilgrims circumambulate Mount Kailash to bring prosperity. In Peru, pilgrims climb the ice-capped Mount Asangate to receive the starlight and bring fire to the earth. Here, I'm sitting right at the base of Mount Kulam and not far off from Nindari. And these all are mountains that are able to support and hold and provide a level of protection, and also deliver support in aligning with the highest timeline, to say it simply. So even calling on the mountains that are close to where you are physically or from where your home is. And this says, it invites you to go on a sacred pilgrimage to acquire vision and perspective. First, you must accept the present situation as an opportunity to discover higher understanding. Find a sacred altar where others who came before you have prayed and found wisdom, and make your offering there. Make a commitment to walk with courage, love, and compassion until you see with clarity the perfection of all. So be it. So calling that in for all of you who are receiving this message, and breathing in and welcoming in the grace of these mountain beings, of your ancestors, of the beloved light of God in all of its many forms, human and beyond. And that what is meant for you shall stay, and what is meant to go will go, and you will have the courage, the clarity, and the verbal communication skills to allow that to flow and go in its perfect timing. Thank you so much for being here with me, and sending you all such gratitude and love under this Wesak moon. May the lights touch deep down into the underworld of your being and illuminate the path to your home. Until we meet again, stay pure, keep it simple. Pura vida.